Welcome. It is 1:30. We are in the Bosch Freilich meeting room of Mandan City Hall, and this is the Metro Planning Organization meeting. If we'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We'll take the roll call.
Mayor Berglund.
Here.
Commissioner Zachmeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz.
Here.
And Chair Freilich.
Here. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Do we have any public comments, Kim? Okay. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mayor Berglund.
Here. Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz.
Yes.
And Chair Freilich.
Yes. We'll move on to item number 5 on our agenda. Monitoring report update, Jeremy Williams, HDR.
All right. Good afternoon and thank you. Jeremy Williams. I'm with HDR and I am project manager for the monitoring report update. And I just wanted to provide a quick update. And I actually have a few slides I can share to talk through the work that's been completed so far on the monitoring report update, as well as the next steps as we wrap up here over the next few weeks. So just a quick refresher on project background, and then a quick discussion of the updated monitoring report, and then a quick look at the next steps for the project. So again, a refresher on the background. So the current MPO monitoring report looks at a comprehensive review of the current conditions and trends related to transportation within the MPO region. Published in 2016, with the latest update being to that first chapter, the People chapter, back in 2019. So again, just looking to update the monitoring report in these 4 different chapters you see that cover the people topic, housing, employment, and travel. So the process for the project and some of the key goals is to, again, update the existing report to reflect more current, census data, state data, local data, as well as to streamline the document to have something a little more graphically driven, that's a little less text heavy and a little bit more intuitive and reader friendly. And also align the monitoring report with existing MPO studies and projects that are going on, as well as some of the more recent federal and state priorities and goals and guidance related to planning, and then provide that data in the document itself in a format that is feasible to hand over to MPO staff, so that future updates can be done in-house, and along with that, some additional training just to help through the data collection process and the methodologies used to develop the updated document. So a quick look at the project timeline. The project began back in March, and it's set to wrap up here in December in the next couple weeks with that final training session you see there listed under Task 5. So moving over to the monitoring report update itself, the chapters are all pretty much the same, retained from the current monitoring report. In talking with the MPO staff, we did make the decision to consolidate the people and housing chapter, given the overlap with those, and maybe make the document a little bit more succinct to that end. So a quick look at that now consolidated people and housing chapter, looking to provide that overview of population and housing characteristics reflected here in some of the sample graphics you see that are available in the report. and also provide some recent trends that are impacting population and housing, as well as some projections for things like population and households within the region, and just kind of connect all of that into how these two factors influence transportation. And as I mentioned, of course, to consolidate that people and housing under one topic or one umbrella, if you will, within the report. The next section, employment, pretty straightforward, but again, looking at different trends and projections, as well as the current information related to employment characteristics and industry characteristics within the MPO region. And then the final chapter or section dealing with travel. So basically all things related to travel, including things like commuting within the region, characteristics of the bicycle and pedestrian system, the transit system, the roadway network, and also look at some of the trends and emerging technologies and things of that nature that are impacting travel today and are expected to impact travel and transportation in the near future. One component that the travel section expands to capture with the monitor and report update is to have a more of a robust discussion of performance measures that impact planning within the region, as well as a highlight of the current and planned studies and work that's going on, being led by the MPO. And then finally get a little bit into kind of a current breakdown of how MPO funds for the functionally classified system are programmed in terms of expenditures on construction and preservation, to give kind of a high-level snapshot of the funding within the MPO region, which again relates more to the functionally classified system and doesn't get too much into detail on how the agencies within the MPO are spending local funds on their local operations and maintenance and capital planning projects and things like that. So that would bring us to our next steps, and kind of the final piece of the project is the staff training session, which is scheduled for the beginning of December, about a half-day session or so with MPO staff to basically talk through data collection efforts and how that data was taken and analyzed and used to produce the graphics and figures that are within the report. And again, really, the goal there is to just empower the MPO staff to be able to conduct those in-house updates, in the future for future iterations of the draft. And so, pretty brief. That's all I had for you today, so I can entertain any questions that anyone might have at this time.
Any questions for Jeremy? No questions. Thank you, Jeremy.
So I just wanted to give a brief thank you to Jeremy and his team for their efforts on the project. They were really great to work with and have been really great to work with at getting this document updated. So TAC recommended the approval of this final document at their meeting yesterday, and we would be looking for a similar motion today.
Thank you, Stephen.
Move to accept the report.
We have a motion by Mayor Schmitz, a second by Commissioner Zachmeyer. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz,
Yes.
and Chair Freilich.
Yes. We'll move on to agenda item 6. 2028 Transportation Alternative Projects. Stephen?
Thank you, Chair. Just one moment here. So the MPO issued its final solicitation for the FY28 Transportation Alternatives Program on September 15th. We received applications through October 15th. Funding levels for the TA program are uncertain, but the current estimate DOT provided us for FY28 is around $840,000 in federal dollars, for which we are competing with Minot and Grand Forks as far as our region is concerned. For the FY28 solicitation, we received a total of 4 project applications, so I will provide a brief overview of these applications for you. The first project is the Lincoln, from the Lincoln Park District, City of Lincoln. They submitted a 66th Street shared use path safety improvements proposal to install decorative pedestrian lighting on 2 segments of pathway, one from Lincoln Road to 28th Avenue and one from Santee Road to the southern city limits, just south of Humber Drive. They are also looking to pave that southern segment, which would be an existing gravel road from Santee to the southern city limits. The total cost is $360, with a federal share requested of $291,000. The city of Mandan, they submitted a project, Highway 1806 pedestrian trail improvements. This is to resurface the existing 10-foot wide asphalt pedestrian trail from 14th Street Northwest past 27th Street North and also under the I-94 bridge on Highway 1806. Overlay and drainage improvements throughout will be used to address flooding of the trail and deteriorated pavement, and pedestrian safety enhancements consisting of a separation barrier underneath the I-94 bridge will be looked at because there's currently no separation between the path and the roadway at that spot under the bridge. This project comes with a total cost of $1.1 million, but of that, only $771,000 is eligible for federal reimbursement, so the federal request is $624,000. The city of Bismarck submitted for the State Street multi-use trail rehabilitation. They have applied for this on a couple of other instances. They are looking to resurface the existing 10-foot wide shared use path, approximately 5,700 feet along the west side of State Street from the Capitol grounds at Divide Avenue to Calgary Avenue, where there's some significant deterioration in the condition of the trail. The cost is $475,000 with a $380,000 federal share requested for this. And then finally, the Bismarck Parks and Recreation District are bringing forward the Claremont Trail Connections project. They are looking to construct a new 10-foot wide asphalt trail through Claremont Family Conservation Park from Gulf Drive to Claremont Road. This would be approximately 3,300 feet, looking to connect into some other sidewalk and trail connections on the eastern and western edges of the park there, and just make it some important connections through some difficult terrain in that region. And there's $879,000 is the total cost estimate, with a $703,000 federal share requested. So, are there any questions on any of the applications? So, no questions. We, the MPO staff, scored the applications against the goals and objectives of our MTP using the new scoring rubric developed by the MTP steering committee for that. Our Bike Ped subcommittee also scored the applications at their October 29th meeting, and those scores are and rankings are summarized in the pages following Exhibit B, if anyone is interested in seeing those. So, as a reminder, the scores are provided for information and discussion, and final prioritization or non-prioritization of projects sent to DOT for consideration is at this board's discretion. So TAC, at their meeting yesterday, they basically accepted the Bike Ped and MPO ranking with one significant change. They wanted to divide the projects up between construction and preservation. So they ranked the Lincoln project as the number one construction project, and the Bismarck-Claremont project as the number two construction project. Then they ranked the Mandan 1806 preservation project as the number one preservation project, and followed that with State Street as the number two preservation project. And that's the format and ranking that they recommended we use to send to DOT for their consideration. And I can take any questions or discussion that the board may have. At this time, you can vote to accept tax ranking. You can do an alternate ranking or no ranking as your preference.
In the packet here, it has the Lincoln Park type as a preservation.
Okay, yes, and that, I apologize, I forgot that after discussion it was determined that it was better defined as a construction project because of the paving and the fact that the lighting was new and not being repaired.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Any other questions for Stephen? If not, what are your wishes?
I move to accept tax recommendation. for ranking.
I'll second that.
A motion by Mayor Schmitz, a second by Mayor Berglund. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer, Mayor Schmitz,
Yes.
and Chair Freilich.
Yes. We'll move on to item number 7, 2030 Highway Safety Improvement Program. Stephen?
Thank you, Chair. The MPO issued its final solicitation for the FY30 Highway Safety Improvement Program in September. We accepted applications through October 24th. We received 3 applications. I'll give again a brief overview of these for you. The city of Mandan is submitting for a construction project Sunset Drive and 27th Street North intersection. They are proposing a single lane roundabout with pedestrian islands to improve traffic flow, reduce queue lengths, and improve safety for all intersection users. At this location, it is close to the new high school, a very busy intersection, as was noted at TAC yesterday. The total cost is about $2.7 million with a $2.4 million federal request for this project. The city of Bismarck is submitting for the construction of rectangular rapid flashing beacons at 4 locations, 4 significant pedestrian crossings with safety issues throughout Bismarck. So they are proposing the crosswalk between Century High School and Gateway Mall, where it was noted there was a recent accident involving a pedestrian. The crossing at Washington Street and Avenue B, the crossing at Riverside Park Road south of Memorial Bridge, and then the crossing at Airport Road and Lee Avenue. This project carries a $690,000 cost with a $621,000 federal request. And finally, Burleigh County is submitting for intersection improvements at Apple Creek Road and the 66th Street Southeast intersection. The proposed project would construct either a hybrid roundabout, or if preliminary design dictates a different approach, a different kind of intersection improvement at this location to improve safety, reduce conflict points, and allow for future street development in the area. And this project is a $4.5 million with a $4 million requested, a federal request. So the MPO scored these applications against the goals and objectives of our MTP. The scores are shown for informational purposes on the summary sheet, but historically, we do not usually send these projects to DOT with any types of prioritization, and TAC voted yesterday to recommend sending them to DOT unprioritized for their consideration. So I can take any questions that you may have at this time.
So it would continue unprioritized?
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, we would not be recommending anything particular to DOT.
Now, would it also remove the scoring? Because I
the
am
scoring
looking,
is not relevant for what we send to DOT. That's correct. It's just for informational purposes that the MPO staff does an exercise where we look at the goals of our Metropolitan Transportation Plan and try to give our best guess at how well that fits. But yeah, it's just for information.
Okay, because I know that Apple Creek Road and 66th intersection is of high priority for the city of Lincoln, because we do have limited access to and from, and that is a kind of bottlenecks a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating to see that score of 37 against a 13-point difference. So
Yeah, I
Thank
get
you.
it. There's really no perfect way of scoring. The rubric was developed when we did by the steering committee that was part of the MTP, but unfortunately, the way it works, it does often kind of prioritize projects that are in busier areas, I suppose you could say. So we understand that. That's why, again, it's not a ranking and it's not forwarded in any way. It's simply provided for purposes of discussion.
thank you.
Any other questions for Stephen? If not, what are your wishes?
I move to approve the action from TAC or TAC's recommendation without ranking, and do not provide the scores to DOT.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Schmitz, a second by Mayor Berglund. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Schmitz
Yes.
and Chair Freilich.
Yes. We'll move on to item number 8, Urban Grants Program. Stephen?
All right, thank you, Chair. Once again, you can listen to me talk for just a minute. The MPO issued its final solicitation for the FY29 Urban Grants Program in September, accepted applications through October 24th. We once again received 3 applications for this program. I will just give a brief summary of these. Bismarck has submitted for the Washington Street traffic signal modernization. They are looking to replace the entire traffic signal system at Washington Street and Broadway Avenue to enhance safety, improve traffic flow, and better serve all users. The existing signal has passed its useful life, and there are known pedestrian safety issues, including a fatality in June 25. That will be addressed with pedestrian push buttons and leading intervals. They also wish to improve and modernize the signal system at Washington Street and Rosser Avenue to reduce north-south congestion and eastbound emergency vehicle delays. Upgrades will include flashing yellow arrow left turn heads, video detection cameras, pedestrian push buttons, and the replacement of the signal cabinet. This is a $968,000 project, of which only a portion is federal aid eligible. They are requesting $700,000 in federal money for that project. Mandan has submitted for Phase 2 of their downtown First Street and Avenues reconstruction project. This project would cover First Street from 2nd Avenue to 4th Avenue, 3rd Avenue from First Street to Main Street, and 2nd Avenue from First Street to Main Street. This is a full reconstruction of the roadway due to exceedingly poor pavement condition and the need to replace a water main, which precludes a mill and overlay. They will also do sidewalk and sidewalk ramp improvements to replace existing poor conditions and bring up to ADA compliance, curb bulb outs at First Street intersections, signage and striping, beautification elements. They will look at sidewalk width and roadway width during preliminary design. It is a standalone project that is not dependent on Phase 1 or 3, although Phase 1 was approved for funding through this program already. The project has a $6.2 million price tag, $4.6 million is federal aid eligible, and $3.7 million is the request from DOT. And finally, Bismarck is submitting for their Main Avenue reconstruction from 7th to 9th Street. They are looking to reconstruct the roadway here and its deteriorated pavement. They will have new pavement, curb and gutter, street and pedestrian lighting, ADA compliant pedestrian facilities, upgraded and modernized storm sewer facilities. The southernmost eastbound driving lane here will be converted into a flex lane that will serve as a driving lane until redevelopment on the south side of Main Avenue could lead to conversion into a parking lane. The existing roadway will be narrowed and wider sidewalks with boulevards will be installed to improve pedestrian safety, snow storage, and redevelopment potential. Access management discussions will also be held with property owners during the public input process to discuss consolidation of 3 corridor driveways. This project is $3.5 million with a $2.2 million federal request. So again, MPO scored these applications against the goals and objectives of our MTP using that new scoring rubric that was provided for us by the steering committee for that project. The scores are shown on the summary sheet and are provided for information and discussion, but again, final prioritization or non-prioritization is at your discretion. And TAC, at their meeting yesterday, they recommended forwarding these projects without prioritization of any kind. So that was their motion yesterday. I can take any questions.
Any questions for Stephen? None? What are your wishes? We have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
I'll
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zachmeyer, a second by Mayor Berglund. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll.
Chair Freilich, just for clarification's point, would your motion, Commissioner Zachmeyer, be without prioritization? Thank you.
At that point, roll call.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer, Mayor Schmitz,
Yes.
and Chair Freilich.
Yes. We'll move on to item number 9. North Dakota DOT Bismarck MPO 2026 UPWP contract. Kim?
Thank you, Chair Freilich. Chair, members of the board, Exhibit O on page 205 of your packet is a standard annual contract with no one-time changes between North Dakota DOT and the MPO. And if you give me one moment, I'll bring that up. All right, there we go. This is tied to the MPO's 2026-2027 UPWP and to the MPO's share of the 2026 Consolidated Planning Grant. The contracting parties are shown as North Dakota DOT and the City of Bismarck on behalf of the Bismarck-Mandan MPO, and that identification is shown because the MPO's funding is provided by the City of Bismarck and is then reimbursed back to the city by North Dakota DOT using the CPG funds. The 2026 UPWP contract runs from January 1 to December 31st of 2026, and the contracted amount is for a maximum of $799,699.55 in CPG funding to fund the federal share of MPO's 2026 UPWP. The contract is undergoing Bismarck's internal contract review process right now, and upon potential MPO approval of this contract by the policy board and successful city internal contract review, the contract will be brought to the Bismarck City Commission on December 9th for approval and electronic signing. Staff is requesting a recommendation of approval of the 2026 UPWP contract, and TAC did recommend approval of same. Are there any questions?
The only thing I will note, Kim, is the commission meeting will be the 16th of December, not the 9th. We only have one meeting in December for Bismarck.
Oh, okay. That is very good to know. Thank you.
With that notification, I would move to approve.
I would second.
We have a motion by Mayor Schmitz, a second by Mayor Berglund. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer, Mayor Schmitz,
Yes.
and Chair Freilich.
Yes. We will now move on to agenda item 10, ATAC addendum to master agreement. Kim?
Thank you, Chair Freilich. Exhibit P on page 227 of the packet is for automated traffic data collection at 5 Mandan signalized intersections. This is very similar to the data collection project that was successfully implemented in the city of Bismarck. Mandan's pilot project would include everything provided in the scope of work that was provided in the packet exhibit, and the project would begin in January 2026 and conclude 18 months later in May of 2027. A total of $45,000 is included in the MPO's work program and budget, or UPWP, for the project, and the revised addendum that we have received is for a total project cost of $44,793. The revised addendum is what I've put before you on your days, and we've also updated our packet to indicate that revision because the incorrect amount was shown on the original ATAC addendum that was included in the packet. The 20% local match of $8,958 will be provided by the City of Mandan, and the remaining 80% would be provided by the Bismarck-Mandan MPO. Staff requests recommendation of approval of the addendum to the ATAC Master Agreement for the Mandan Signalized Intersection Traffic Data Collection Pilot Project, and TAC did recommend approval of the addendum at their meeting yesterday. I would be happy to stand for questions.
Questions for Kim? Hearing none, what are your wishes?
I'd make that motion to approve the ATAC addendum to the master agreement.
We have a motion by Mayor Berglund, second by Commissioner Zachmeyer. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Schmitz,
Yes.
and Chair Freilich.
Yes. We'll now move on to item number 11, the 2025 Safety Policy Study. Luke?
Good afternoon, Chair, Policy Board. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. We've been busy this previous month putting together a draft report for the safety policy study. I'm just going to share the table of contents with you all. There are 8 chapters in the report, including an introduction and background of the safety policy study. Chapter 2 provides an overview of multimodal transportation safety in the region, looking at crash statistics from the metropolitan planning area for the 5-year period of 2020 to 2024, or through 2024, excuse me. Chapter 3 provides an overview of the current state of practice, including some reference and resource and really a solid foundation of safety and transportation safety planning work that has been done in the region. Chapter 4 outlines the public engagement for the study and outreach. Chapter 5 is an overview of the data analysis, more on the lines of methodology and where the crash data came from. And then it also provides methodology and background on the high injury network, which is looking at density of severe crashes on specific roadways across the metropolitan planning area. After Chapter 5, there's a Chapter 6, which is not listed here. I must have missed a heading. But that would be the high injury network results. So sharing specific maps of the high injury network in the region by mode. We have a pedestrian high injury network based on pedestrian involved crashes. We have a bicycle high injury network based on bicycle involved crashes. There's also a motorcycle high injury network, a passenger vehicle high injury network, and then there is an all modes high injury network as well in Chapter 6. Chapter 7 outlines, that's one of the most robust sections that outlines the safety countermeasure strategies and toolkit, which are engineering and non-engineering strategies. And then Chapter 8 provides prioritization of locations across the region, and then implementation and the road to zero strategy for Bismarck-Mandan MPO to follow. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we also have several appendices as part of the report. I'm just going to list those off here. Appendix A is the technical memo of the historical crash summary that has all of the tables and charts of the crash data. Appendix B is the technical memo of the state of practice, which is outlining those resources and of your existing plans that have a transportation safety component. Appendix C is the public engagement summary, providing a little more detail on who was met with, when, and then specific summaries from specific meetings and events that we held. Appendix D is the high injury network methodology, the technical facing memo of that. And then Appendix E is a PDF of the high injury network one-pagers. So we looked at specific high injury network corridors in the region, in the MPA, and provided one-pagers that outlined the where the crashes occurred on that corridor, the types of crashes, and some of the contributing factors associated with the crashes along that corridor. Those are super interesting. We didn't get to every corridor, so we limited it to the top 2 most severe tiers of the high injury network. So they are the most severe roadways in the region, and there are 45 pages, so 45 different segments in the one pager Appendix E to start to dive in and identify specific strategies that may be implemented in specific locations. And then the final appendix, Appendix F, is really tailored for your local technical professionals and planning and engineering staff, and that is the Safety Strategies Toolkit, focused on engineering strategies. And in that, it will be a navigable PDF, meaning that you'll be able to sort or filter by clicking on and answering specific questions about where you're looking for a solution, and it'll filter to the appropriate strategy for that type of location. I have to applaud your local technical staff. We met last week with our steering committee and got some really good feedback on the draft report. We're making some adjustments based on that feedback. I will be getting the Safety Strategies Toolkit navigable PDF out today. I just finished with cleaning up a couple of links got discombobulated in there. So that's all cleaned up now. So I will be getting that back out to the steering committee. We're asking for your local professionals' feedback by the 26th, end of day, just so we can get those before Thanksgiving. We're meeting with them in the steering committee again on December 3rd, and then you will see a final draft of this report and the appendices in December. So we'll be looking for action from TAC and Policy Board in December. And that will wrap up the safety policy study. So it's been a pleasure. You'll see me again, but we're getting towards the end here before the holiday season, and looking forward to the final deliverables as part of this study.
Okay. Any questions? He's still on. Luke, you still on?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Any questions for Luke? None? Okay.
Thank you,
Luke. Happy Thanksgiving.
You as well.
Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 12. Dr. Hassan.
Thank you, Policy Board and the Chair. Can you hear me well? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So I have a very brief presentation for you. And so again, good afternoon to Honorable Chair and the board members. This will be a very brief update on the ITS architecture as we are approaching to the end of this project as well. And a draft report is already included in your meeting packet. We started this project in February to update the ITS architecture, which was originally developed in 2005 and has already been gone through 3 updates. So this is the 5th edition of the architecture. In this version, we have updated the time scope as well as the geographical scopes as per the input from our stakeholders. One of our primary focuses in this initiative was identifying the key players driving technological advancement in this region. While the architecture itself is not dependent on the technology, the introduction of any new technologies inevitably brings in new stakeholders. Therefore, we have included 2 new stakeholders in the architecture, which increases our number of stakeholders to 26 in comparison to the last update in 2021. To streamline the architecture development, we use the concept of the ITS services and identify those as service packages. And currently we have a total of 28 service packages, 28 service packages, out of which 26 are existing and 2 are assigned for the future. Now, if we compare it with the last architecture update, the number is reduced. However, if you look into the segregation of their status, you will see that the main reduction happened in the number of services with future status, while the number of planned services came down to 0. This indicates that the region has made significant strides in executing their planned initiatives, particularly in relating to the ITS components. Other than the idea, the changes in the service packages, there are some discussed service packages which are not included as a separate service. However, the functionality is addressed under another service or in the statewide regional architecture, as ATAC is responsible for the maintenance of both frameworks. We have also pinpointed several agreements that are crucial for clarifying stakeholder relationships in the region and ensuring effective public service delivery. Now, identifying those agreements is a significant challenge for any regional architecture. So, if they are not clearly identified through the ITS plan, therefore, we are introducing the concept of project architecture for the first time in the 20-year history of ITS architecture development in the Bismarck-Mandan region. This concept will not only help with the agreement identification, it will also serve as a standardized template for the future ITS projects that those will be identified in the TEEP, detailing the information that should be requested when developing project responsibilities to consultants so when you're delegating the project responsibilities to the consultants, contractors, or developers. Now, we believe that these initiatives will enhance the effective utilization of the architecture in future projects. In addition to the points that we have already discussed, we propose several recommendations aimed at enhancing interagency collaboration and embracing modern technologies such as electric vehicle charging station. These suggestions are in line with the goals set forth in the MTP Arrive 2050 initiative. So here is the list of responsibilities that was outlined at the start of the project to ensure timely delivery. And we are at the final stage of receiving comments from our technical representatives that will be included in the final report as seen necessary. And I'll present the final report in the next month for the board's approval. With that, thank you again, and if I can entertain any questions of yours.
Any questions for Dr. Hassan? Nope. Okay. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
You as well.
With that, we'll move on to item number 13, Fringe Area Road Master Plan update. Stephen?
Thank you, Chair. Just real briefly, the Fringe Area Road Master Plan update had a kickoff meeting on October 27th, and we held our first steering committee meeting on November 13th. We had very good discussion and participation. So over the next month, we will be taking the direction we received at that meeting. We will be working on data collection, preparing for our first major public engagement event for this project, which we are still hoping to hold in early December. And then finalizing a couple of important mapping tools we will be using to collect information from the steering committee, our jurisdictions, and the public as part of this project. So we are excited to have more substantial updates in the future as this gets underway. Any questions?
Any questions for Stephen? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item number 14, administrative modifications. Stephen?
Yes, Chair. Thank you. So on a regular basis, as you are aware, the MPO has to make changes to our major planning documents, whether that's the Unified Planning Work Program, the MTP, or the TIP. Probably most common to see us change the TIP at these meetings. So our public participation plan lays out a specific process for handling these changes. If they are substantial and meet certain thresholds, they are processed as amendments. If the changes are minor and fall below the amendment threshold, they are processed administratively as modifications. So these minor changes are then usually presented to the boards as an informational presentation, but we never require any action from the boards on these. They are simply informational items and administrative changes. So after some recent discussion about this process at TAC, it was suggested that to save time at our meetings, we provide our board's official notice of administrative modifications on our meeting agendas and in the packet, but no longer include them as presentations. Board members could always question or comment on them at the meetings if desired, but normally they would simply be included as just as a notice on the agendas themselves. We wouldn't need to change our public participation plan to accommodate this, but we did want to bring this forward to both TAC and Policy Board in case you have any questions or concerns. TAC did not really have any concerns about it. They just wanted to make sure that they were still getting notice in some way.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, Stephen. Now, item number 15, meeting calendar. Tracy?
Second to share screen here. Sorry about that. Give me a second here. Okay. On the last page of your packet is the 2026 MPO calendar of meetings. The TAC meetings will begin at 10 a.m. on Mondays, and the Policy Board meetings will begin at 1:30 on Tuesdays, with the exception of January and February due to a holiday on Monday. Both meetings will be held on Tuesday. TAC and Policy Board will be in Bismarck January through June, and back in Mandan July through December. Does the board have any questions?
Any questions? Nope. Thank you. Item number 16, Government Partners Program. Kim?
Thank you, Chair Freilich. This is just a brief update and a reminder regarding the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority Government Partner Program membership. This is a membership that's designed to assist communities along or adjacent to new passenger rail service routes with planning activities to maximize benefits and to address challenges that are presented by new passenger rail service to an area. The Government Partner Program membership has a term of 1 year, beginning from the time that the fee is received and then expiring 12 months from that date. It does not automatically renew. The MPO and its partner jurisdictions all participated in the Government Partner Program through the year of 2025. The Memorandum of Agreement for the GPP between the MPO and the 5 paying jurisdictions was signed last December after approvals were received by each jurisdiction's governing body. And because the MOA follows the term of the membership, which of course does not auto-renew, jurisdictions were told that they would be given ample time and the option to consider renewal again this year. Now, the GPP membership was included in the Bismarck-Mandan MPO's 2026 UPWP in the budget and the work program, which was presented to the boards in detail in July and then approved by the Policy Board in August. At that time, there were no objections to the inclusion of the $6,000 GPP membership fee or to its jurisdictional match amounts, which are as follows. Bismarck's match is $720, Mandan $240, Burleigh County $180, Morton County $30, and City of Lincoln $30. If any jurisdiction does require approval of the 2026 membership through its governing body, this would be the time for the principal representative for that particular jurisdiction to request that approval prior to year's end. The MPO will be verifying which jurisdictions are participating in order to develop the Memorandum of Agreement for 2026, and we do hope to bring that final MOA to the boards in December for your review. That way we can have a membership that begins on January 1. I would be happy to entertain any questions or stand for any concerns that you might have.
Any questions for Kim? Okay. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other business before the board? None? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. This meeting is adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Same back.